Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of PhotoBiz Live. This is Danny from the PhotoBiz team, and today we're going to be joined by Travis Gugelman. How are you doing today, Travis?
I'm great and ready to teach.
Awesome. So we've got a big crowd. I see tons of people still joining in, which is absolutely awesome, and I want to thank everybody firsthand for joining us, and thank you, Travis, for joining us in the middle of the day. I know it's kind of an odd time, but I know you've got an awesome presentation planned for everybody. So, guys, if you've signed up for this webinar, you may know of Travis, but if you don't, I'll give you a little bit of background info. In Travis's first 3 years, Gugelman Photography has become one of the top performing studios in the U.S. as reported by the PPA. Travis' business plan, sales script, employee manual, and marketing plan have each helped create a studio that operates like an organized corporation. Travis, this is going to be kind of a little bit what you're talking about, and you're also going to be speaking at WPPI Sync and PPA, which is awesome. So I know you're very experienced and have a great presentation, so I'm going to go ahead and let you get started here in just a moment. Just some quick notes for everybody. We are going to be doing a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so if you have any questions, please hold them to the end. You'll use the chat tool built inside of the GoToWebinar software, and we'll answer those questions. We also have this discussion being tweeted live using the hashtag PhotoBizLive, and we are going to have a playback for you guys later. So if at any point during the webinar you have any difficulty hearing Travis, please just message me directly, PhotoBiz Web Solution Organizer, and I will do my best to troubleshoot any issues. So on that note, Travis, I'm going to go ahead and let you get started.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Danny. Okay, well, everybody, as you heard, I took my studio kind of from ground zero and built it up quickly. We did that in about less than 3 years. Next year, we're coming on to our 10th year anniversary. So I've actually been in my, for my studio, my shooting space, sorry, my Main Street location in my town. I've actually been in business for about 11 years running my studio. So I started young. I started when I was just 21, 22 when I bought my studio. So we jumped right into it. And with that, I realized I was not going to settle to be a starving artist, and that I was not going to be a father and a husband that could not provide. What my wife and I wanted, we wanted to be able to raise our family with my wife being home with our children. And so I had to succeed. I had to figure out how to take this photography studio in the small town in Idaho. I come from Rexburg, Idaho, is where my studio is located. We have only one high school. We don't even have a super Walmart. We're a small town. But I had to decide what I was going to do to be able to build a successful studio. But also, my first job in life, my priority in life is to my wife and to my 4 sons. I have 4 sons. And in order to do that, I had to run a studio that was set up for success. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you about today. The first slide you're seeing there, if you're seeing, it just says, men are born to succeed, not to fail. And that is a quote that I absolutely love, and I stand by and believe. It was given by Henry David Thoreau. But I believe that we are all here on this earth to succeed. And so with that, I decided that's how I was going to run my studio, it was in a way to succeed. If you're watching live, you can see a picture there. That's actually a little bit outdated. I need to put the new one on. I thought I had transferred that over. It's my beautiful wife there, and 3 of my sons. My wife in this picture was actually pregnant. So we have 4 sons, which I love dearly, and why I do everything that I do in life to succeed is for them. Okay, well, I'm just going to tell you real fast how we created our studio for success. Number 1, business plan. We went into business with a plan that we were going to succeed. Number 2, a marketing plan. We had a plan in place for our marketing that we would be able to know in advance what marketing campaigns, what marketing strategies, who we were marketing to, and why. That was already in place. Number 3, a huge one, was sales, a sales plan. So we knew exactly how each sales session would take place. I wasn't just going to take orders. If I'm giving my time on a Saturday or an evening to photograph a family or a high school senior, well, I need to make sure that I'm making the most off of that session. And so I wasn't just going to put them online. I was not going to just take orders I was going to actually have a presentation in which we sold to them. So we are projection sales in my studio, and people come into the studio, we work in the sales room. I'm going to talk a lot about that throughout this hour and 15 minutes. The next is employee management. Now I realize in our industry today, there's not a lot of studios out there who have many employees. So that's going to be that's the fourth cornerstone to, I believe, running a successful studio. There's going to be one that we're not going to have time to discuss today. So let me just go through what those 4 points were. Number 1, a business plan. Number 2, a marketing plan. 3, a sales plan. And 4, employee management. So we're going to just jump right in here. I'm going to share another quote with you. The absence of structure breeds breakdown. I love this quote. If you think about it, the absence of structure breeds breakdown. So each of us have to ask ourselves, how is our studio set up? Is our studio set up with structure? If not, it is a breeding ground for breakdown, that we're not going to succeed. And so those 4 points that I just shared with you are the 4, I believe, cornerstones of building a successful studio. Okay, a business does not miss the mark by failing to achieve in some lofty principled way, but it's in the small stuff that goes on in every nook and cranny of the business. It's on the telephone, between the customers, the salesperson, it's on the shipping dock, it's at the cash register. All of those places, that's where businesses today are failing. And that quote comes from the book, The Emyth Revisited, which is absolutely one of my favorite books. It's written by Michael Gerber, The Emyth Revisited. And it talks about the fact that businesses today are failing, not because maybe the photographer is not a wonderful photographer, or the person baking a pie is not an amazing pastry chef, or a restaurant's not failing because maybe they're not making the best burgers. It's because they're missing the small stuff. Those little things on the telephone, cash flow, getting orders done on time. Those are the things that are causing businesses to fail today. In the United States of America, over 1 million people will start some sort of a business each year. By the end of the first year, 40% are going to be out of business. Now think that through. That means in 1 year, out of those 1 million, 400,000 are out of business. The next statistic is even scarier. Within 5 years, more than 80% are going to be out of business. That means in the first 5 years of starting a business, 80% have failed. 800,000 are out of business. And then more than 80% that survived that first 5 years. Now we're talking about, of that 20% left, 80% of that 20% are going to fail in the next 5 years. What does that mean? That means in the United States, in 10 years, we have a 4% survival rate. 4%. So out of 1 million studios that are starting each year, now I believe I'm speaking to mainly my photographer friends out there, and I know that each of you realize that of over 1 million people starting a new business each year, that 90% of those are photographers. We're in an industry right now that's booming. More people are coming in and working at becoming professional photographers than any other time. I started when I was only shooting film, and I tell you what, it's a different ball game today. But the good thing to keep in mind is there's only a 4% survival rate. So the next 10 studios, or 1 million studios that are starting, there's only 40,000 left. Now the scary question is, though, are you going to be one of the, where are you going to be? Are you going to be in the 96% that are failing, or the 4% that are surviving? Okay, one more quick statistic. While 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, it is actually reported that 75% of all business format franchises actually are succeeding. 80% of businesses starting are failing, but if you go out and purchase a franchise, you have a 75% chance of succeeding. And the question is why? Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. When you purchase a franchise, that franchise is going to come with a business plan, with a sales plan, with employee management help, and with a marketing plan. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to pretend that the business that you own, each of you as a photographer, is the prototype, or it will be the prototype for 5,000 more just like it. Not almost like it, just like it. Perfect replicas, clones. Now, I'm not suggesting that you want to go out and own 5,000 studios. I'm not suggesting you even need to run a studio with 10, 20 employees or even 3 employees. Even if you are out of your home, out of your living room, maybe only on location, you still have to run that studio as if it was a business, as if it was the prototype, as it's saying here from the Emyth, to go out and start more businesses, meaning you have to have systems in place. And what this does, it allows you to be able to be in control of your business, not the other way around where your business is in control of you. So number one thing you need is a business plan. I'm going to go through some steps you need in a business plan. With a business plan, you need to have a mission statement. And what the statement says is who you are. Who are you as a business? My mission statement says, if you can't see the screen, I'll read it. Our mission at Gugelman Photography is to create a 5-star experience for each and every one of our clients. We want all of our clients to feel comfortable, respected, valued, loved, important, and beautiful. Gugelman Photography will always produce the highest quality products that fit today's trends with a classic flair. So that's what we want. In my studio, I want a 5-star experience. I want my clients to really feel that they are respected, valued, loved, important, and beautiful. And that is so important. So in your business plan, you take the time to write it down. It only can, it doesn't need to be long, a couple paragraphs, 5 sentences. But this is a mission statement of who you are. What is your studio's policies? What do you stand for? What are you going to give? What value are you giving to your clients for coming to you and choosing you? Because keep in mind, there are so many photographers they could have chosen. So a mission statement is something that has to be in a business plan. Businesses that are succeeding have business plans. My family, my 4 boys and my wife and I, we have a mission statement for our family that states who we are as a family and what we're going to stand for. It's a way that I can let my kids know this is what we stand for. The same thing applies to the mission statement for your business. So mission statements. The next thing that you need in a business plan needs to be obviously your mission statement. The next is a SWOT analysis. Now a SWOT analysis is something that any business should own, or that has a business plan should have. Number one is you need to have a list of your strengths. Be generous here. What are your strengths? Is it your off-camera flash? Is it your personality? Is it your organization? Is it, what are those things? What makes you unique? What are your strengths? Now, number 2 is a little harder. You have to be honest with yourself. What are your weaknesses? What is causing you to fail? Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe is it off-camera flash for you? Is it your marketing? Is it the organization, so you're always behind? Whatever that weakness is, you need to write it down on paper, in a plan, have it there, because then you can look at that and be honest with yourself of how you can fix that, how you can fix those weaknesses. In the SWOT analysis, the O stands for opportunities. What opportunities are there for you in your town, in your studio, in your life right now? What are the opportunities for you to grow or maybe to downsize? But what are the opportunities that are there? And the T stands for threats. Obviously, in today's economic status that our country's at, there's going to be a lot of people looking for different options to bring in a second income. And that is done oftentimes right now because of the industry is booming. It's coming through photography. So there's a lot of threats out there. But you need to, although I do not believe you need to focus on those threats and have that be your main focus, I believe your main focus should be on your strengths and improving weaknesses. But those threats, you need to be aware of them. What are they? And then how can you, as a business, create opportunities from those threats? Or how can you turn those threats into strengths for your studio? Okay, next we're going to go on to what needs to be in a business plan. A pricing strategy. Why are you priced the way you are? Are you looking to be the most expensive studio in town? That's something that we've really chosen to go after a higher end clientele. But maybe you're not. Maybe what you're looking for is you want to work a lot more hours, and you want to be the lower end guy. There's a piece of a pie out there for everybody. And I my studio, we're actually going at it from both ends. We work with the higher end, and we're also we have a separate company that does the contract work, even down to the elementary schools. And so each of those strategies I have are different. My pricing strategy for my contract portion of my business is definitely different than my strategy for my high-end clientele. The clientele that are really willing to pay for the quality of portraits that we're offering. And so you need to have a strategy. And your strategy hopefully is not just, I'm going to try to call the other photographers and depend on what they're charging, I'll base my price. You need to actually have a strategy. What is it you're trying to say about your work with that price? Also, I would throw out there a suggestion when it comes to your pricing is you need to decide how much do you personally or your studio, how much do you need to take home as a net income? Maybe you're a father like I am and have a family like I do. I have 4 sons and a wife, and I am the sole provider for my family. So my net income needs to be high. With that being said, I'm going to have to price differently because I have to be able to support my family. So what I like to say is find out how much you need to bring home net. Maybe you're a single mom. Maybe you're trying to help subsidize and you're a working mother, and how much is your time worth? If you're going to be pulled away from your family, pulled away from your kids, or how much do you need? What do you need to bridge that gap in your family? So basically what I'm saying, guys, you need to find out how much you want. What do you want your studio to do? Then from there, work backwards. Say, okay, if I need to bring in $100,000 a year net, take home from my studio, how many sessions would I need to, and at what average session would I need to be able to do to accomplish that take-home salary? Once you've done that, that will help you decide, okay, well, if that's the case, that I need 100 sessions a year, at this, at $1,000 or whatever. You need to go through and decide how many sessions it's going to be. But if you're just throwing a number out there, a lot of times you're going to be actually working a lot harder and longer hours for a lot less pay if you don't have a strategy to your pricing. Number 2, distribution strategy. What is your turnaround time? If you tell a client 6 weeks, are you going to be ready at 4 weeks? Are you over-promising and under-delivering? Hopefully you're under-promising and over-delivering. Hopefully you're telling your clients maybe 4 weeks, and at 3 weeks you're giving them a call. What is your strategy? What's your timeline? And then how is it packaged? What are your color themes? Even if you go to my PhotoBiz website and look at gugelmanphotography.com, and Gugelman, guys, is spelled Gugelman, you'll see that we even have down to the sound of music and the colors that we're using, a strategy of how my images are being delivered to the public. Okay, number 3, strategic alliances. Who in your community is out there that you can team up with? Is it a local movie theater that you can maybe do some trade with? Is it a dress shop? Is it the OBGYN, or I'm not sure what you call them, but the doctors who are delivering the babies? Maternity doctors? Who are you working with to create an alliance that you can market together? I know we work with the gas station. It's like the hip gas station where all the youth go. We work together on doing a lot of marketing campaigns. We work with the dress shops. Those are the kind of alliances that I need to be able to join forces as a small business and as small business owners that have built our businesses and our studios. We need to combine with other people who built their businesses and work together to market. We can have strength in that. When it comes to strategic alliances, I believe working with your Chamber of Commerce is a great thing. I'm actually on the board of directors at my Chamber of Commerce in my town, which allows me to have a lot of chance to work with other business owners. Okay, next, you need a break-even analysis. This is crucial. How much does it cost to have your doors open? Now, this is crucial if you're a studio storefront owner with an actual studio property, but also for those of you that are listening that work out of your home, you still should have a break-even point. How much are you making per hour? You need to know these things. And I know there's a lot of people in the industry who are shoot and burn and they believe they're doing great. How many hours have you spent to get that client? How much money do you have into your camera gear? How much money do you have in the training that you've done? And then how much time is it going to take you to prep? You need to know how many hours it literally takes for you to deliver one 8x10, one 5x7, or a family portrait order, a senior portrait order. And then you know where your cost of goods are. Find out what your break-even analysis is. At what point do you actually get to take money home? The next, you need a profit and monthly. So profit, monthly and yearly. You need to have your profit and loss statements. You need to know the months that are going to be slow. Right now, most likely, most photographers we're in the heat of the season. Things are going great right now. So a lot of times what happens is we stop marketing. But what's about to come? Well, January, February, those are months that are hard. So what we need to do is make sure that we are planning ahead. But we need to start marketing for those slower months now, and also saving for those so that cash flow continues to happen. So our profit statements, monthly and yearly, those should all be inside your business plan. You can work with an accountant to get those, or just get them out of QuickBooks. The point of what we need to do is we need to free ourselves from our studio. Once again, the reason hopefully most of you started this business was to give you more freedom, some more time. Maybe you're an artist and you just want to, it's an outlet for you. But if your studio is dragging you down and you're staying up too late and working, or not getting the hours, you're working too many hours with not enough pay, you're not running the right kind of studio. You need to make sure that your studio is actually working for you. Okay, the next step we're going to talk about, guys, marketing. How do you market to the right kind of clients? For me, once again, if I'm going to be spending an hour or 2 hour or wherever, if I'm spending my day photographing, I don't ever spend a day, sorry, that came out wrong. While I'm shooting or photographing these sessions, if I'm going to be spending an hour, I really want it to be the right kind of client. It needs to be someone willing to pay. I don't want clients that are coming to me just because I'm the cheapest, because they're not going to, one, respect me or my work. So if I'm spending an hour or 2 hours in a day as a photographer, I want to make sure I have the right kind of client. So my next point we're going to talk about is how do we market? How do we find those clients? For us, we have a mall display. Sometimes a year we'll have more than one, where we have a large display where people are seeing my work. That's something that we do as marketing. Number two, we have a senior marketing plan specific for high school seniors. We have a senior safari program. Actually, I just had a workshop at my studio. Right now, my sales team is working with a bunch of photographers here at my studio. Yesterday, we all went out and I did an actual senior safari where we took kids to a ghost town and photographed them. I'm going to talk about that. Promotions. What kind of promotions am I running and what months and how many? Studio events, not just a flyer going home, but am I having events at my studio? And I'm a strong believer that we need to be using our God-given talents to give back. And so charity, what are you doing to give back with your talents? Now you may be interested or wondering why charity is inside the marketing section. Well, I tell you what, because it's very good public relations. It gets your name in the public, sometimes more than you could ever imagine, by doing these charity events. So charity is something we'll talk about as well. All right, the mall display. Well, I'll just let you know our mall display is probably one of the largest marketing expenses that I have. In marketing, there are standards out there set up. The one I like to follow is the benchmark studies from the Professional Photographers of America. But what they're teaching us is that if you want to be a growing studio, you need to be spending an average of about 10%. 10% of your gross sales should be going to your marketing. So keep in mind, if your studio is grossing $100,000, your actual take-in gross sales, then you need to be spending, if you want to continue to grow, about $10,000 on marketing. This is something that my studio does and has always done, because I don't want to ever slow down at this point, because obviously throughout the years you're going to have clients that family members are going to become photographers and they're going to go to different places. So I need to continue to have new clients coming in, so I'm always marketing. My mall display is the largest expense I have. Just to give you an idea, the mall display is at least $20,000 to $25,000 a year spent just on our mall display. Okay, it needs to have impact. If you're having a display anywhere in public, any kind of display in the public, it has to have impact. You better be using canvas or large frames. It needs to be decorated to the season. You need to be swapping out images often. And also displaying as many clients as you possibly can so that those clients are in the public being seen, and it's going to create buzz and word of mouth. I believe in having themes at your mall displays, whether it's a black and white theme for a period of time, or sports, or family. So that was mall display. Okay, our senior campaign. A senior campaign, you can see by the banners, needs to have a feel to it that appeals to the seniors. When it comes to high school seniors, it's all about them, who they are, and really showing them that you understand that. Once again, it should have a theme. You have a theme for each of your marketing campaigns. That if you think about the larger corporations out there, like the Buckle clothing stores or even food industry, they have a theme that goes along with their marketing campaigns. Testimonials. You need to make sure you're telling on anything you send out, you have clients telling you, have clients giving you testimonials of why they love working with your business. Be a brand name. This is something that's so important when it comes to marketing. This will save you time. It will make you more money if you have a demand to come to you. I know there's many photographers out there that say, oh, I can't charge, let's say, $100 for an 8x10. I just can't do it. Well, why not? The Buckle clothing store sells jeans, Rock Revivals, $160 for one pair of jeans. They're selling pants, True Religion jeans, pants. They're selling those for up to $300. High school kids are wearing these. They're wearing 7 Diamond shirts, $100 t-shirts, $100 shirts. Why? Because it's a brand. It's a brand name. Your studio has to become a brand to these seniors, to the families. It needs to be that they're willing to pay it because you've created a desire and a brand. And having a portrait from your studio means something. We do a lot of fun buttons. We have button templates that we have that have different silly sayings on for high school seniors. And they wear them on their backpacks, on their bags. I got that idea from Gary Box, and I've taken a spin on it, and we absolutely love it. Okay, the next, Senior Safari. Let me explain our Safari. It's a modeling program, basically. But for me personally, I just don't have the time to spend doing my senior models. You know, I'm just said that. Senior models or ambassador programs a lot of times are very time consuming for studios, especially studios that are just starting up or just out of their home. It's a lot of work. And many of the times you're overshooting your seniors. You're spending hours, 3-4 hours photographing these models for your studio or your ambassadors. And then you're spending all of that time to redo or to do the touch-ups and the editing, and then you're even giving them stuff. Well, these modeling programs are just drowning a lot of studios. So for us, what we have is we have a Safari plan, a Safari idea that we do. And this is something that we've been able to help a lot of other studios implement, and it creates a lot of buzz and success. But what we do, the basis of a Safari, is you take 12 seniors. Yesterday we actually had 10 that we took. So 10 to 12 high school seniors from multiple schools, and you go to different location that's not overused and is maybe far from your studio. For us, I figure if it's within 2 to 3 hours, we can drive there. We take all these seniors there on one day and photograph them on that day. Now we treat them like royalty. Yesterday the limousine pulled up, and talk about buzz. We hire a limo and a driver to drive these kids. What's nice is it takes the stress off of me from driving them, creates a lot more fun for obviously for the kids, buzz. They're in the cars, they're Facebooking in the limo, Facebooking and having a great time. The whole time they're driving down the road, all their friends are noticing that they're on Safari. Well, the Safari is something that creates buzz about my studio. I know there's always a question out there, do kids pay for this? They don't have to pay. No, they do not have to pay to be on a Safari. What they do have to do is be a Gugelman senior, meaning they have had to have a booked session and prepaid $175 retainer towards a portrait order. So they paid a session fee, they paid a session fee, and they paid a retainer. So I do have money already from them. Some of them, by the time they make it on a safari, we usually will do 2 to 3 a year. If they're going to be on safari, sometimes they've already been photographed and had their senior portraits. Other times they haven't, they've just pre-booked so they could come on, get their name on the list for the safari. We have a long list of kids waiting to go on safari, and there's not really any other criteria other than you're paid for Gugelman Senior. At that point, you go on a list, and we just go down the list, and we call the kids on the list. So we're not telling kids no. There are kids every year that aren't going to make it on safari, but if you want to be on the safari list, it's a first come, first served basis, so you need to book your senior portraits early. What's awesome is we already have juniors signing up to have their senior portraits so they can be high on the list for the safari. Okay, the next thing that you need is you need to have a follow-up party. This is crucial. After we photograph them, they come back to a party at my studio. Now, if your studio is out of your home, this may be a little tricky, especially guys. If you're a male photographer out there, please don't be inviting a bunch of kids into your home at night for a party. It would not look right. But you can use one of those alliances that we talked about in business plans, and you can have a party somewhere in the public for these kids. We just buy lots of pizza, lots of soda. We have a big party for them, and we call it the unveiling party. Now, the trick is to get into the party. There is a price they have to pay. That price is you have to bring 5 friends. So I'll give you an example. Yesterday I photographed these kids, these seniors. We had 10 of them. In about a week to 2, I don't know the actual date, but we will have them all back in my studio, and I am guaranteed to have a party here for juniors and seniors with 50 kids. That's an amazing way to get a buzz about my studio going around. Those juniors, those sophomores, they're going to be wanting to go on safari because they've been to one of the parties. Yesterday, one of the kids on our safari actually said to us, yesterday they said to me, I have wanted to be a Gugelman senior since I was in elementary school. I said, wow, why is that? They said, I remember seeing pictures of the safari, and I wanted to go on one so bad. She was one of the first kids to book at our of the season because she wanted to be on our safari. So I'm really glad that she was able to make the date. Okay, we buy lots of pizza and soda. Once again, have fun at that safari party. We do a live photo booth. We have a video booth of people giving online testimonials about how great their experiences was working with our studio. So Senior Safari is an awesome way to be able to not spend all of your days and your time photographing all the different models. You're able to do them all in one day, and you have your marketing all photographed for that day, and it's amazing. They also are able to purchase images from that day. They don't receive anything other than a free session. Obviously, we buy them all the food for the day. I'll have a lot of fun. So that image, if you can see the images on the screen, that is a safari that we had rented. It's actually a 15-seater stretched excursion limo. Awesome way for these kids to go out and have a blast. Now, I don't charge my seniors, but right there is 12 in that we took in that limo. If each of those kids paid $50, $75 to come on safari, which most would, you would be able to pay for the limo cost just with that. We also now have this limo company as a strategic alliance. I give them images and video for trade. So we do have to pay, but not the full price that you'd be paying for a limo service any other way. Okay, events at your studios. So I did talk about events for high school seniors, but there's other events we need to be having to get people into our studios. As you can see, we do girls' night galas, where we have women come in with their moms. They can bring their daughters, and they can have a makeup, and we'll photograph them for Facebook. These are generally not nights that we're charging for. If anything, to come to that, it may be a food donation to take to a local charity bank. It would be a donation that we could take to Ecuador, because myself and Lori Nordstrom, as many of you know, started and run a nonprofit organization called Dando Amor, and it's also a PhotoBiz website, DANDOAMOR.org, dandoamor.org, and we take photographers down to Ecuador and we do charity work in Ecuador and photograph children in orphanages. But with that, if we have an event at my studio, I can have a donation, so I can therefore, on my, let's say it's a girls' night gala, a free Facebook profile night, a artist night where I have pictures I've taken from around the world, all on display, so it's a gallery. I can generally, if I'm going to be turning that into a charity event, get free advertisement in the radio or in newspapers. So the events at your studio are great. You need to have something like that to keep in touch with your clients and set yourself apart as an artist, and also be meeting new people from your community. Okay, promotions. We do a lot of promotions. Now we do these during our slower time. Obviously January and February we'll be doing more promotions, and I'll be doing practically none during July, August, and September. So our promotions are usually cheaper because it's during the times I need to be circulating business through. We'll do maybe an $89 special. That would be a 15-minute session, and most likely one 8x10 or a 5x7 depending on the special. Now when you're sending out cards for your promotion, when we do a promotion, we send out mailers to all of our database. We'll also have that coordinated with a Facebook event where we send out events through Facebook, and also it will be, depending on if it's a promotion tied with a charity event, it could be a poster around town or something like that. Anywhere you put up advertisement though for a promotion, you need to make sure that your promotional pieces have impact and style. If you can see the screen, you can see that my look, the style that we're going for on these particular pieces, the Easter special, the grandparent night, portrait night, the love story special for Valentine's. Each of those have a much different look than what we were showing for the high school seniors because it's a different clientele. So that the colors are different. My campaigns for my marketing are all thought through why I'm doing what I'm doing and who my target market is, what clientele am I trying to attract. So we need to be thinking those through when it comes to promotions. And you need to have these ready to go. We do a year in advance. There's no reason to wait until a week before Valentine's to think, oh my goodness, it's Valentine's next month or next week. Valentine's, guys, is always in February. Christmas is always in December. So if you're going, right now, Christmas stuff is up in the stores. Do you already have your marketing pieces ready and the time to send them out so that you can be generating business when those families are together? That's why these promotional pieces are so important to have ready to go before. There's templates you can buy for those. I know we sell our marketing campaigns. Other studios sell theirs. You can buy them from different labs. Those are all you can. If you're not a designer, you can gather these things as well. It is a problem, I believe, in our photography industry that many photographers believe, because they know Photoshop or think they know Photoshop, that they are now a graphic designer. I would have to disagree. And a good sign to show that is how many photographers out there think if they type their name in Scriptina font that they now have a logo. That's not the way it works. I believe in hiring a graphic artist or purchasing those, from maybe pre-made packages, but you need to make sure that you are sending a piece that looks professional, not that looks like a photographer put it together. So that's my little soapbox of making sure your promotional pieces have style and look good. You need to give your clients on these promotions a reason to act and a time limit. This special is only going to be good for this many days. Once again, have client testimonials available. Tell them why. Why are you different? What makes you unique? A promotion is a great way, I say always, is getting new blood flowing through the veins of your studio. Okay, well next we're going to go on. If you're watching this live, actually, there's just some new images. The way I do my sessions to keep things moving is I have a 20-minute session, a 40-minute session, a 60-minute session, and a 90-minute session. So the longest I would spend with a high school senior is most likely 90 minutes. Now families are generally just scheduled in 1 hour to 1.5 hour time slots. Bridals, generally speaking, are 1 hour. But what we do on those is we're scheduling is several in a day, and so I can leverage my time. The 20, the 40, the 60-minute sessions that we have isn't by anything means something I came up with my own. I actually got that idea from Darty and Colleen, and absolutely love them. I know they're also PhotoBiz clients, and they are the owners of Sync, which I want to put a shout out there for Sync. I absolutely love going there and learning and teaching. Okay, if you kind of come along here, you can just see some of these are just new images that were photographed in the studio and on location. In each outfit, make sure that we're posing for profit, that we're getting close-ups, that we're getting full length, that we're having three-quarter, different poses, different feelings as far as serious versus smiles, so that we have more to sell from. All right, so there are just some images there that showed some of our newer work. Okay, charity. When it comes to marketing, I believe in doing charity. If you can see the screen, you'll see these beautiful children. These are all children who have, some of them from birth have been orphans. Some of them have been pulled out of their homes and put into orphanages because of abuse that maybe they can't take any longer. This to me is a passion and a drive to be able to use what I believe is a God-given talent to be able to give back to these children. And I believe that as artists, as photographers, it's something that we need to do. So we do take trips to Ecuador. Most likely we'll be adding Africa at some point. And we work with children living in orphanages. Now the reason we leave the country isn't because we don't care about kids within our country, which we do, and we do give back to them as well, but because our money can go a lot further. We can do a fundraiser and build classrooms and hire teachers and photograph these children to help on adoption papers so much easier in a country where our dollar is stronger. And so that's one reason. And also I believe it doesn't matter where a child is born. I believe wherever a child is born, they're one of God's children and need to be helped. So we take photographers down and we work with them, and that's dondoamore.org. We also, in my town, to be able to leverage working with charity and having events, we have Hurdle for Hope, where we have my studio actually is the producer, organizer, and host of a large array of a 5K and a 1K kid run. It's a wonderful, fun event. There's this year, the first year we did it, we had over 300. This last year we had over 500 people come and race in the race. We work with other business owners. It's kind of like a mix between a mud run and a Spartan, where you're running in mud, you're jumping over fire, slip and slide endings, climbing over hay bales. But this is a fun way for me to go out and create strategic alliances with other businesses. And as a whole, we have races, this race, which just creates so much buzz. It gets my name on the radio. It gets my name on banners going across our main streets. And then on 500 to 600 T-shirts, nice mesh shirts that are worn around the town with my logo on the back as the host, and of course sponsors below. So it's a wonderful way that we've been able to give back. And so you can see there. One other thing that we do, we host and bring in performers. We'll do a concert, and on the back of the concert, obviously, this is a charity event where I personally take nothing home from this. I actually pay for the advertising, but I don't take anything back from it. And those on the back of all the tickets, we have different promotions for my studio. And so around Valentine's Day, we bring in performers, and we usually well-known ones, and do an event where it's a donation back to the orphanages. These are ways to get my name in the public, to really look like and we are, but to be a studio who cares about giving back to society. That was just some pictures there of us on the stage. I'm on the stage with this packed auditorium 3 nights in a row. We're sold out, and my images are being showed as I had created of beautiful orphaned children, and we're raising money for them. We actually were able in this one concert to be able to raise over $13,000, which was 100% donated to help better the lives of children. Okay, sales. Once you get the clients in the door, we're going to jump to sales. What can we do at that point? The setup of your room is so important. How it is set up, where people sit, the atmosphere, Are you projecting? The display prints in your studio will help the sale. And if you're out of your home, the display prints on your walls in your home. When people come in, they need to see art. They need to see large prints. It's always been said since I was starting in the photography industry that you will sell one size smaller than what you have displayed on your walls. And so for me, I definitely want to make sure that nothing actually on my walls is smaller than a 20 by 30. If it's 16 by 20, it's going to be on an easel or on a shelf. So we're really making sure that people understand that a large or a wall portrait is 20, 24 and larger. Okay, the approach, how you're selling, and then your pricing. And you need to make sure at your sales that your images are strong enough to wow them. Gary Box, a dear friend of mine, has stated, if you want higher sales, you have to be a better photographer. You have to make sure that your work is worth their hard-earned money. So my challenge to each of you is if you aren't shooting to the best of your ability, ask yourself why. If you are not shooting to the best of your ability, why? What's holding you back? Some will tell me, oh, it's time. I can't be a better photographer. I haven't learned this or that because of time. I ask the question, how many hours are you spending on things that aren't important? If you can change that, if you're able to find more time and maybe cut out things that aren't important, such as I'm a big advocate of cutting out TV and those things in your life that spend hours on, you'll be able to learn how to become a better photographer. Okay, next, the sales. Let's just talk this through. Projection, I love projection. We are currently using ProSelect. We're looking at Preview as well. Those are just some software programs to help you do the sales. Where you're sitting in the comparison to your clients. I am a strong advocate and believer of having a round table inside your sales room where you're sitting right at the round table with your clients. The projection is happening from behind you, being projected on the wall in front of you. And therefore you can sit next to your clients at this round table and you can visit with them and help them. You're not right across from them. You're not on a couch in a dark room. You're definitely not behind them or at a coffee table. This is business. We're at a table where we can flip through the sales book. We can flip through the price guide. It's a menu where you can go through and help them and show them while their images are in front of us. It is so important to be able to be able to be in the right setup for the sales. So I believe in having that round table. It helps put you in control without being controlling. Make sure that the products that they're seeing on their table that are right in front of them are the products that you want to sell. If you have too many products on the table, if it looks like an explosion of items, it doesn't work. You've got to make sure you have those high-end items out on the table. Think of a Prada store. Think of what it looks like when you look inside the window of a high-end purse store or shoe store. Now take that same thought and shift it to what it looks like when you walk in the purse shelf at Walmart. Now Walmart is an explosion of different kind of purses. That's not what we are. We want to be high-end. So on our table we have 1, 2 items of the nicer books or albums that we're selling. We don't need to show them all those little fluff items until after we've actually sold them the product we need. Okay, you need to remember the five senses in your sales room and in your studio. The sight, the first impression outside your studio. Is it spotless, inside out? Do you have large, for us, canvas art on your walls? You need to show the products you want to sell and then update those images often. The sound, for us, we have sound outside the studio. We have speakers. We have sound obviously inside. And what does the music do to fit your style? For us, it's a lot of classical music in the front. In the back, we have more contemporary music where we have the high school seniors. So we can have different sounds, but that sound is so important. The smell, keeping it consistent, keeping your bathroom clean, smelling good. Something that's interesting, the smell of Christmas is actually the strongest smell for evoking buying behaviors. So inside my studio year-round, we have a cinnamon scent. So kind of a cinnamon vanilla scent that actually is here year-round because it has been proven in psychological studies that the people's buying behavior increases when they smell that smell. Touch. What does your furniture say about you? How does it feel when they sit on it? What kind of pens are you giving them to write out their checks with? What do your bathrooms look like? Do you have hand towels? Do you have paper towel? We actually have embroidered our logo on hand towels for them to dry their hands on. All of these little things make a difference. The taste. Is it consistent? Do you have a treat for them? What does it say about your studio? I've been to studios where they have like just a jar full of Myconites or M&Ms. To me, that's disgusting, number one. But number two, that's not the kind of studio I am. There's studios who have, I know that are out there, Clark and Rachel Martin, some of my dear friends, who have baked fresh cookies every day. For us, we don't have a kitchen here, so we can't do that. But we do at least have treats and keep them consistent, and also have something for kids of all ages, so adults down to kids. Okay, the approach. Whoever makes the decision to sell has to be there. You have to have a script, a sales script that works and has answers to commonly asked questions and concerns. What items are you selling?
All right, it seems like we're having an audio difficulty. Hang on a moment, guys. Let me work on this with Travis. Travis, sounds like we're not able to hear you if you are able to hear me. So let's just take a look at this real quick on the back end, see what we can do to get this audio sorted out. All right, everybody, thank you again so much for holding on. Travis is going and working on fixing the webinar software on his end. If you guys want to go ahead and just start typing in any preliminary questions that you may have had, we'll go ahead and get those queued up so he can answer those as soon as he gets back in here. So he is rebooting his system right now. It looks like the GoToWebinar software had a small issue on his machine. So any kind of questions you guys have that are on the top of your mind, go ahead and just start typing those in there now, and I'll get those prepared to ask Travis whenever he returns. All right, Travis, are you back in here?
I'm back in.
All right, awesome. So sorry about that, everybody. Just a little technical difficulties that gotta love technology. So let me go ahead and give you a second to load up your presentation, Travis, and then when you're ready, I will hand over the control to you so you can share your screen again. And
okay, yeah, I need to find it because I had to shut everything down. Let me see here. Are you seeing my panel? Are you seeing mine right now?
no, not right now. We haven't turned over the screen sharing, so whenever you get it loaded up, just let me know, and I'll swap it over to you.
While I'm loading that, why don't you go ahead and ask? We can take a few questions.
Okay, so while you're loading that, so first question I have here from Brett Tyler. How many employees do you have?
We currently have 2 full-time and 4 part-time, so we currently have 6 employees.
Okay, great. And I'll grab another question while you're working on getting that presentation loaded up. Oh, and also for anyone who joined us a little late, a couple people were asking if they can watch this over again. We'll work on getting some kind of a recording for you guys or playback and notify everybody. So next question here is coming in, and it is about the Safari. So on the Senior Safari, do you take the makeup and hair people from as well? Do you bring along the makeup and hair, or do you get that done beforehand, or do they do that on their own?
That's a commonly asked question, and actually in the state of Idaho, you have to have a cosmetology license in order to apply makeup to somebody else. And so we'd have to take somebody with a license, and so we currently have not. But I do believe that it's a great idea, and I know that you could coordinate with maybe a local hair academy or like a Paul Mitchell school. And that's something we've toyed with the idea, but we just haven't done it. So the kids are responsible for that for themselves. But if you had someone that could do it, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. All right, and I think that you were going to get to answers about the projection system just in general. We had a question that came in, what do you use for a projection system? And I know you were starting to talk about it right whenever I think we lost audio.
Well, what we do there's really not too much of a system. We have a great Canon projector. I don't know the actual serial or the type, but we use what's called a GOO system, G-O-O, a GOO system paint. So our wall is actually painted with, a normal projection screen has like a little bit of not glitter, but it's kind of a shimmer to it. So the paint that we use is actually the same as you would use if you were painting a wall in a movie theater that had a set wall, or the same technology used in a screen. So we have a very high resolution, high definition projection that we project to. And then as far as projecting, other than that, the sales girl then sets it obviously at the round table with the clients.
Awesome.
Hey, Danny, I'm ready to. I mean, I don't really have any more slides, but we can at least open it up if we want.
Let me go in right here and grab some more questions real quick. So, okay, this question comes in from Sherry. So, what is the minimum portrait or canvas size you have in your studio on display?
On display, now, if we do a gallery wrap collection, meaning that you buy this as a collection, the smallest on display there would be a 10 by 10. But we'd never hang a 10 by 10 on our wall unless it was part of a collection. So as far as just normal wall portraits on our wall, the smallest one we have on display would be a 20 by 24.
Okay, great. And I'm going to go ahead and just work my way down this list here. Okay, this is for Jennifer. This question's from Jennifer. How would you suggest creating a studio selling experience for a photographer who works on-site or out of their home and doesn't have a spare room?
So if I understand the question correct, how to create the experience for the session, obviously the experience is going to be your interaction with them. From starting on the telephone to how you're treating them, to where you're working with them. It doesn't, even if you don't have a spare room to be working with them, you can meet them I guess at a restaurant or at a Starbucks and go through the images with them that way. But I don't believe we're offering any kind of a help just to throw them onto an online shopping cart and let them go in there on their own. That's a great way to get a second sale, but you need to be working with them live and in person. And so even if you don't have an extra room in your house and you're only working on location, you're going to have to come up with times where you meet with them and you still can create that experience, the personal experience. We're in a very personal industry, and so I believe that you need to do as much in person as possible.
Okay, great. And just a lot of questions coming in from a lot of people that are just getting started and really want to set themselves apart. Do you have any, tips or advice for people that, only have a few, 1 year experience or a few years experience and are ready to kind of, take things to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said in the mission statement, I would say for people just starting, the first thing I would do is sit down, pen and paper, or sit at my computer and start typing. What is it you want to create? You wanting to create maybe something like I have, where I've got 6 employees and I'm working, running a very large, maybe high-end and high-volume studio, or are you looking to keep it small and maybe only do 1 or 2 sessions a week? For me, once again, it always comes back to as well, what is your financial, like what are your goals for your studio? Why are you running a studio? Is it, financially set a goal? What is it you want to accomplish? And that will help you kind of get an idea of what you're going for. Once you've figured out what you want, at that point, you can start setting distinct steps on how to make it. But I would say my best advice to a studio starting out is absolutely set goals. Do self-assignments when it comes to your photography. Work hard at getting your art and your photography up to par. Find other photographers who you like their style. And most photographers will maybe have some kind of a workshop. For instance, right now, as I said, I've got a studio full of photographers from all over the U.S. today. And they're here for 3 days for a workshop. I've attended many workshops in the country and out. So find someone's style you like, work with it there, and then join up with other companies like PhotoBiz to have a profession, to keep your sites professional. They can give you style, color themes, and think all those through. PhotoBiz is amazing customer service, but also they give you a chance to really help you stylize what you do. Then I would suggest, find a lab that works for you. We're currently using H&H. We love working with H&H, but find a lab that works with you to help you create the style by offering the products that you need.
That works, definitely. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into some other questions. So this is about the mall display. How far do you live from your mall, and do you have any of your interns or employees change out the display, or is that something that you do yourself?
I definitely, being a father of 4 boys and wanting to spend time with my family and wife, it's not something I do generally by myself. I did for the first few years, but so I definitely have other people do that. And it is a good 40 minutes from my studio, so 40 miles. Keep in mind, I live in Idaho, where we have more deer, elk, and bears than we do people. So we have to drive a ways to go shopping. So for me to market, I have to market a good 300-mile radius for my studio. So we do have kids and seniors driving in 3 hours for a session and 3 hours home. So our mall displays are sometimes up to or an hour and a half away.
Wow, awesome. Well, this question comes in from Dorian, and Dorian saying, if you're the only person, how would you approach all of this marketing, especially if you're just getting started? Any suggestions there?
Yeah, I would definitely say, and I went through, now keep in mind, I went through a lot of marketing that is a studio that's got 6 employees. What I would suggest is you've got to do something, and you really also need to, you got to pick something that's doable, but you need to be spending money on some marketing. It's nowadays people think everything is free. I can just do Facebook this, Facebook that. That doesn't work. It's one form of marketing, but not the only marketing. So I would suggest definitely Facebook is a good place to start because it is free for the most part. Doing events and having that out there, but it's not enough. You have to have a website. You have to have a way for people to see you. When it comes to marketing, I would say pick something that maybe is smaller. Whether it's you can purchase high school senior lists. We buy ours from AmericanStudentList.com, I believe. But there's places you can buy those things and do at least 1 or 2 mailers. It may not be a mall display at first, but maybe it's a dentist office that you have a relationship with. So my point would be you have to start somewhere, and you are going to have to spend you are going to have to spend some money on marketing. You're just going to have to.
Awesome, great. So this question comes in from Sheila. When you're selling, are there certain main products that you try and sell in general, or how does how do you tailor your sales for your clients?
Yeah, well, we have a sales script that our sales team follows page by page, and that sales script obviously is going to start with portraits that are first packages with portraits in them. Because we want to start, that's where my highest margin is. I make more off of those than I'm going to make off of, let's say, albums or the wood panelings or all those different things you can sell that labs offer. Where my highest profit margin is going to be on selling portraits. So 8 by 10, 16 by 20s, 5 by 7s, whatever. So we start with wall portraits and then work our way down from there. So there is a system and an order. But my main suggestion there would be to start with it. You need to sell the things that make you the most money first. Because if a client only has, let's say, $500 to spend, and they buy frames and you make less than you are if you sold all paper product, if that makes sense, or canvas. So you find whatever you're making the most of and offer that first.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and just take a couple more questions here and kind of wrap things up. And I wanted to see, Travis, if you had any kind of closing statements or remarks that you wanted to leave with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say, we started and went to work. And I know there's a lot of you out there listening, it sounds like, that are new in the photography industry. And I would say welcome, and we're glad you're here. You are going to find some photographers along the way that maybe older or seasoned photographers that feel like you're not welcome. Don't let them get you down. We live in a country where we have free enterprise, and if you want to be a photographer, then go for it. But it's going to take work. There's a quote that says, success does not just happen. You have to set yourself on fire, and I believe that's true. You have to really decide, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to be the best photographer I can. I'm going to be the best, marketer, and also find balance. It can consume you when you're building it. Make sure you don't forget what matters most to me personally in life, and that's spending time with your family, your children. You don't want to build a wonderful business and then look back someday and say, "Wow, I missed my kids. I missed my kids' childhood, or my kid's childhood." So you do need to set yourself on fire and go to work, but also make sure to find a balance to continue to spend time and do those things that are most important in life.
Awesome. Well, just one quick question here, kind of repeat. A couple people were asking when you mentioned that senior list. What was where can they find senior list at?
It's like AmericanStudentList.com. Let me see if I can pull it up right here. I'll do it right now. I've got you on here. But I believe it's just American Student List. They've got two different places. And obviously, it's going to, just so you know, it's only going to be probably 50% accurate. And that bugs some people. To me, I say that's still 50% of the kids I wouldn't have reached had I not purchased it. So you can look at it's more of a half-full type thing. Yeah, AmericanStudentList.com.
Okay, again, so guys, that's AmericanStudentList.com. So just looking at time frame and everything, I wanted to thank everybody for joining us. There's many questions that I wasn't able to get to, Travis, but I know that there's a lot of great questions out there still. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best route for them to reach you through? Is it through email or Facebook or Twitter?
Yeah. I'd say go right to my PhotoBiz website, and you can send us a message right from there that will come right to my studio. Also, definitely calling is the hardest. I would say go through Facebook, my Facebook. Feel free to add me. Tell me you heard me on PhotoBiz so I know how to categorize how I'm bringing you into my Facebook. But Facebook is fine, or just an email.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Travis, for joining us today. An awesome presentation. I'm going to work on going over the recording of everything, and thank everyone else for joining us. So also, I want everyone to just be sure to check our blog where we're going to have future webinars on there, and you can sign up for those as well. And hopefully we can do another webinar in the future, Travis. This was an awesome presentation.